what is the scene up at Old Trafford? I mean, surely people not arriving there at this time. Shaban, good morning.
Good morning, Jim. It just shows you how big this club is, because we've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. Hundreds of fans, hundreds of people already passed through here, the main entrance at Old Trafford. We've been speaking to a few fans as well, trying to find out who's protesting, who's not. Kind of split, actually, is what it seems at the moment, because one young man just walked past us there and I said, are you going to be protesting this evening? And he said, absolutely not. I'm here for match day. I'm here for the experience. I don't want it to be about that tonight. Pretty interesting approach. I actually heard Graeme Souness there saying on the show that when it comes to match day, it should be all about the players. The protesters today are going out of their way to make sure their voices will be heard. We've got the Man Utd Supporters Trust, the 1958, making sure that they're all going to make themselves loud and clear tonight. We know the 1958 are meeting up tonight at 6 o'clock. They're going to march down the Talbot and then up in their thousands. Proposed 10,000 fans going to march tonight up towards Old Trafford and make sure their message is clear. They want the Glazers out. The other hashtag that's going around on Twitter as well is empty Old Trafford. Now, I've had a lot of backlash on Twitter, the best place to go to make yourself known, to tell me that that's incorrect, must. And the 1958 aren't supporting empty Old Trafford. But we want to hear from the protesters themselves. Come down and see us. You know, we're talkSPORT powered by fans. Come and talk to us, vent your frustrations, and we'll see where we go from there.
Shaban, very good indeed. Those watching on YouTube and Facebook Live will have seen Shaban there just outside the stadium. And of course, a long way to go, Graeme, between now and kick-off. But they will show up in numbers and they will protest. And your argument is, now, have your minds on this game. Get behind United in their efforts to beat Liverpool.
Yeah, the players, I'm sure the players will be distracted by it. The Man U players, I think the Liverpool players will see more of, please, because we're just here to play a game of football. I was there, what was it, a couple of years ago when the supporters broke into the stadium. And it's not good. No, they broke into, think of that, they broke into a stadium. Smashed doors to get into Old Trafford, and then we were on a gantry halfway up the first tier of seats at Old Trafford. Some university graduate has thrown a full bottle of beer that missed my head by about 3 foot. Another one's fired a flare, one of the flares that you would take on a boat, and you fire if you got in trouble. I mean, you can't do that. Turn up. We have a right to demonstrate in this country. Yeah, but it has to be legal demonstration. It has to be within the rules of the law that we all live under. You can't be breaking them. And the last time it happened, it was not good, and it didn't do Man United any good throughout the world. You know, it showed Man United supporters in a bad light. Turn up, make noise, but that's where it should stop. But I tell you, Liverpool will benefit from it. The Man United players won't, so they have to have that in mind. And the job is hard enough for the Man United players right now.
Would you, as a former Liverpool player, if you were playing for Liverpool tonight,
I'd
you'd
love
say,
it.
let's use this?
Oh, I love it, yeah. Love it. Be a motivation for me. And you can see the week. Where do we start with? Or where do we start with this? You've got Man United players that are looking for an excuse right now. You got some people that you would not want to be in the trenches with, and that'll only give Liverpool a lift and an excuse to those weak. I'm on live radio. I've got to be very careful what I would call them, or will call them, but weak players that play for Man United who have not stood up. They've been bottle jobs, and that's last year. They're showing signs of it this year. Right now, what you're seeing from Man United players is they're looking for excuses. They'll be blaming the manager, blaming this demonstration. They'll be blaming anything they can other than hold the mirror up and look at themselves in that mirror and say, could I have done more?
So Liverpool go there. This is as good a time as any. And Klopp, you'll have seen over the weekend, Simon was talking about comments from Agbonlahor.
Yeah, amongst other things.
Who called out Manchester United's players after being 4-0 down at half-time against Brentford and then losing the game by 4-0. And Klopp named Gabby. Well, he took around about a bit of time to get there, to give us Gabby's name and what have you, and then told us Gabby had been involved in a game in the early days of the Klopp reign when Liverpool beat them by 6-0, and Gabby was playing that day. In fact, not enough from me. This was Klopp talking about this.
We forget in these moments how good Brentford is, to be honest. It was that bad. I drove home. I watched the first half here, I think. Then I drove home and coincidentally listened to talkSPORT, and Gabby, he lost against us 6-0 when my first year. I couldn't remember him as a mentality monster on the pitch, but what he said about United and that in that show I was close to call in.
Can you picture what a change room is going to be like now? Ronaldo and Fernandes will be standing up and hammering everyone else when they done nothing themselves. Because Ronaldo will be friends with Dalot and Fernandes, you know, the Portuguese players. I'd rather play as a player that comes on for PSG as a sub than stay at Man United now. That club, Jamie, it's going to get worse.
And I was close to call in and tell him, you forgot completely that you have been a player. It's unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And if ex-players go already like this, then you can imagine how everything else is going. So now you just have to ask yourself, how would you want to react in a situation like this? And you would, of course, fight back. That's completely normal. That's what we expect.
Graeme, that was Klopp's reaction to what Gabby said. Did you see or hear much wrong in what Gabby said?
No, I'm not sure if it's an argument or a conversation he needs to have, Jurgen Klopp. I mean, it's nothing to do with his club. He wasn't defending his own players. He was defending players that are historically their biggest rivals. It's not something he needs to say. And I think not just ex-players, not ex-owners. I think everybody's entitled to an opinion about football. It's our game. It's easily the most popular game we watch and play in the UK. And I think everybody's entitled to an opinion. And if people are willing to listen to you, and if people are willing to pay you to go on a television programme or indeed a radio programme, why not? You know, it's everyone's sport.
When you hear that again, and you wonder, why Simon Klopp took time out.
My reaction is that Agbonlahor is not going to solve Pythagoras' theory and give us much insight on most things in life.
No, but he's also to him about football.
He's also a footballer that's played at the highest level. Whether you think he was the greatest player that ever played in the Premier League is irrelevant. What I objected to, and Jurgen Klopp has every right to have an opinion on someone else's opinion, because it would be ludicrous to suggest he can't, right? But what I was unhappy with was the sort of advocation that this is something that ex-footballers, ex-players should never do. They shouldn't be commenting on current day footballers. They shouldn't. They know what it's like to play as a footballer. And then you've got the other side of the argument, which is people that constantly sit in rooms like this. Graham's not done it yet, but he may well do it, where you didn't kick a ball. So really and truly, there's a level of how much you actually know. So we all say, okay, I'll accept that. Right? I'll accept that. You've got that one. So when a player speaks, he does bloody well know. So surely he can have an opinion now. No. That doesn't fit with the status quo of how football works, right? The Emperor's New Clothes, the dressing room is sacrosanct, no one ever goes in there. Churchillian speeches by leaders of men, rubbish. Some of the people in football, some of the most lightweight people I've ever met in my life. And the fact that Klopp wanted to attack Gabby because Gabby had an opinion about the mental minnows that play for Man United is either deflection on Klopp's part or something else that Klopp seems to think he's got the zeitgeist on the fact that he's the only person that can talk about football. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Listen, by the way, I will only use that you said about how many times did you play in the Premier League when I'm losing the argument. Okay,
good.
All right, I'll only lob that one in.
At least you flagged that up to us.
I'll only lob that in when I'm losing. Another one obviously is show me your medals. I promise I'll never use that.
Okay.
Thank you. I think, you know, in Germany it must be the exact same. Ex-players offering comments that people don't really like. I was a player. In my day, there wasn't so much media coverage, so you never got. There wasn't sort of the ex-player coming on and being critical of your performance. But then, obviously, I managed for the best part of 20 years, and I can't say I enjoyed it when people who are maybe ex-teammates or people you played against coming on and being critical about your team.
Goes with the territory,
you know. But that comes, and it's part of the deal. You just have to accept it.
Yeah,
you can have the needle with uneducated, unconstructive, unfair clickbait comments. But if someone is saying something that the rest of the world can see, there is not a person besides maybe Ray Charles that didn't watch that game on Saturday and saw Man United capitulate mentally, and their players are weak. And so what's the problem with saying it? Because I tell you what, when they're good, no one will say, don't you dare praise me too much. Don't you stop that praise, I can't bear it.
Yeah.
Right? They'll want to hear that.
Yeah.
So there has to be balance. And it's a very strange world. It's through the looking glass when I'm defending Gabby. But you have to in this context.
Yeah, but you went against everybody who said it's Manchester United. You were saying, it's heightened because it's
Well,
of course it is.
Of course it is.
Because it was 4-0 down at half time.
I went against... what I did was I defended the observation that Man United, come rain or shine, has a media obsession focus on it because of Man United being a football club. And we're losing context on the bottom line, which is we didn't tell you how good Brentford were first. Every commentator went, Jesus, look how bad Man United are. And then they but I say that Brentford were good as well. So that was the point I was making with you on Friday.
Fair enough. So, Gabby, keep doing what you're doing, mate. And we'll see what United are made of tonight at home to Liverpool.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.